we have like more than 3,000 people working on the offices, plus like 3 million people volunteering, offline or online. And so every country is using different systems. As I said, each office is independent, meaning the head office cannot really come and tell you which tools to use. So you find yourself with a great variety of tools. You see Mexico is using some kind of database, where India is using another one, New Zealand. So this was important. We needed to choose a tool that, a technology that could be able to integrate with all of our systems that we're using. So these are some of the requirements. Of course, other requirements were we wanted it to be open source. We wanted to be responsive. We wanted it to be easy to customize. So, but those are more like a given, right? And we needed to choose the technology that we wanted to use for this engagement platform. And we were considering these 3 options: Joomla, WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla. And the truth is, nobody in the organization had experience in Joomla. Well, not much people. So our decision was mainly reduced to WordPress or Drupal. And it was hard, to be honest. It was hard to make a decision because there was a lot of people involved. We were talking with all the offices. Also, all Greenpeace staff, not all Greenpeace staff has technical skills, so there were people who didn't really care. But we were, talking mainly with the people who were in charge of this, to maintain these tools in their offices. And we saw that mainly everything we wanted to achieve could be achieved by both technologies. So the key factor to determine which technology to use was surveying our users, and more users had experience in WordPress, and that's why we chose WordPress. Because at the long run, it was going to be also more, it would have less financial impact if we had more WordPress skills there. And when you are living on donations, you really have to be careful with this, right? So, but we love Drupal, in case you are all Drupalists. Yeah. We are also using Drupal for other tools. It's okay, we chose the technology. Now we wanted to, that's weird. We needed to explore the technical options we had, either to have like a multi-site architecture, a multi-instance architecture. Multi-site is basically having a WordPress instance to serve all sites, and multi-instance has a WordPress install per site. And having worked in this, so our previous site was using the monolithic approach, the multi-site one. And having worked with it for some years now, we knew some of its disadvantages, at least for us. Some of the disadvantages are that we saw it reduces flexibility for local customization, having a single instance. In the long run, it can generate technical debt. It makes harder for newcomers to collaborate, and it can set the basis for single points of failure. So it also has some advantages, of course. If you have a single instance, then it's easier to maintain, to do maintenance of that instance. You also ensure more consistency throughout the sites, which is really important, I think. As I mentioned, each office is independent. You keep yourself finding in this situation where every office wants to do something completely different, and you really need to allow them to do the customizations they want, right? So this was mainly the most important thing we had to look at, and that's why we decided to go for the multi-instance architecture. We thought by having this, we would allow more freedom to each office to just customize their site, add the plugins you want, do custom development that you think is needed for your office and for your campaigns, and this way it was going to be easier. Oh, well, It's just another one of the same type. There you go. So this is mainly what the architecture looked like. Even if we had a multi-instance, we still have some shared services. Oh, I forgot to mention this name, NRO services. We call each independent office NRO, which means national or regional office. So each office would have a testing site, a staging site, a production site, and with their own instance. That's basically what we chose for. And I'm gonna go more in detail from bottom up in this architecture. So yeah, at the beginning, okay, this was a bit tricky because at the beginning we knew we wanted to use for the architecture containers. We wanted to go with Kubernetes, but we didn't have the knowledge in the organization, and it's hard to find like highly skilled people who's trying to do a job not that well paid for a non-profit organization. So we were struggling. We decided to go with what we knew, which was virtual machines, which we call the classic approach. And this was mainly what we had in mind. We were going to have 2 virtual machines to power each of the 3 sites per office. Each site would have its database and Redis, and we started rolling out the offices with this infrastructure. We developed an MVP, a minimum viable product, and we started rolling out to some offices, and the first 4 offices have this architecture, and then slowly we started migrating to Kubernetes, and now it looks something like this. So for each site, you have a container. Well, you have a collection of containers, and we have 2 containers for OpenResty to deal with the caching, Redis, Exim, and the Wordpress code, the repositories, of course. And all of those are in another node for the databases. And this is basically what I do. Our Kubernetes infrastructure. So each site is using from 1 to 7 pods. It escalates according to the traffic. It is using auto-scaling. So it was really important for us to do this change to Kubernetes because it means way more, how do you call it? You are more efficient in energy consumption, because before we used to have 2 virtual machines powered on the whole time, where both of them were using maybe 30% of the usage. But we had to have them there in case someone decides to launch a campaign. We have a peak for a few minutes and that's it. But it's not worth it, right? Like it's so much money not well spent. So and now moving to Kubernetes, we have 1 pod. Each site starts with 1 pod, and then as the site starts getting more and more traffic, it escalates to up to 7 pods, and I don't think we need more. So yeah, we have our Kubernetes cluster in Oregon, and it's power we intend to use that one to power the coming 40 sites that are coming to come on board, that are planning to come on board the platform. So that's about the local services. For the global services, this is not accurate anymore. This is a map I came up with when we were exploring the options, and I'm really visual, so I really wanted to have a map of, okay, what tool are we planning to use for each area? And so there are some question marks that you can see there because we were not sure which one to use. And also there are some that applies for the virtual machine approach. For example, Puppet is not for Kubernetes management, configuration management. So, for example, for continuous integration, we started using Jenkins, but now that we are Kubernetes, we changed to Circle CI. Well, actually, Kubernetes also. But Circle CI we found it was way better and easier. And in Circle CI, we do the deployments, we do the automated testing, which is in Selenium. And for the search, we were exploring these 2 options. We went with Elasticsearch. It is not fully implemented yet because we were waiting for it to be more stable a little bit. but we are about to finish implementing it. For the configuration management, we were using Puppet, but now we are using Terrarium, Helm, and Google Cloud Builds. So it's more like a multifaceted configuration manager. For the database, we went with Google Cloud SQL. I forgot to mention that all this is hosted in Google Cloud. We had this restriction where we are only working with green hosting, and Google is doing a good job there so far, as far as I know. So we went with Google Cloud SQL with that. For caching, we were using Varnish with the virtual machines, but now we are using OpenResty, and for the content delivery network, Akamai. Oh. So for monitoring, we are staying with those. We use New Relic to monitor all the CPU usage, memory usage, and all the aspects of the sites. Also, OP5. For WordPress package registry, we use Status Composer. For security, now we are using Aqua. Aqua vulnerability checks are really good for Kubernetes, I think. Performance, we're not using any of those. We're using those. So that's how we are. That's where we are so far. That's what our shared services look like. But we are still improving, of course, and yeah, we'll see where we go after this. So this is about the background. This is how Planet 4, how the infrastructure that we came up with Planet 4. And now I want to show you a little bit about the front end. So this is a video, but maybe I can just go to the side. I think this is it. I just put that video there in case it was not working. So okay, the design is not amazing. I recall that. But we are still improving it. So the thing is, we came up with these blocks. We custom developed these blocks in WordPress, which were really helpful for content for webmasters, because they just like add blocks. They don't have to mess with any coding. They just add the blocks. So the first one is a slider block, 2-column block, carousel block, and then related articles block, 4-column block, and then this we call the happy point block because it has to be integrated with an external system, which is the petition system. But the main important thing in this design is that, well, we have the two options that users wanted to see. We can tell the users how to do something about it and what we are doing and the issues we are doing. So in the act page, you can find a lot of things that you can act on. And then, for example, if you want to take action in these telling big companies to drop dirty palm oil, you get some information about it, and then you can actually see what you can do. Okay, you can sign a petition, you can inform yourself, share with your people. Okay, this is only an example. There are other take action pages that have more tasks. So yeah, this is basically what the prototype looks like. As I said, we developed a minimum viable product because we were on a very tight timeline, but we keep releasing one new version every week, or at least we try. And so this is the status of the rollout so far. We have 7 countries that have migrated to Planet 4, and the rest are preparing or soon to deploy. And yeah, we expect that by the mid next year, then we finish deploying all the offices at once on Planet 4 because it's they don't have to, of course. But the majority is doing it because it's cheaper, and I think that's enough. It's cheaper. Well, and we have like a really good system, of course. So that's the status. I think it is worth mentioning that we are doing this project openly, and you can find a lot of information about it online. We developed this Planet 4, we call it handbook. It's more like our user guide for people to come up with a more innovative content strategy. Actually, I can show you a little bit of the handbook. It's actually built also on Planet 4, so it's only like another theme. Yeah, that's worth mentioning. I forgot to mention that each WordPress install that we give to each office has a master theme and a child theme. The master theme contains the global product, and the child theme is the one that they can customize for adding or changing whatever they want to change. And this way we prevent conflicts in the code whenever they start messing with the site. Oh yeah, so this is the handbook. This is made of child theme from our Planet 4 theme. And here we can tell, yeah, we have more information about the whole vision of Planet 4, the style guide, yeah, more development stuff that you might be interested in. How to implement, because it's a whole process, and currently it is taking each office about 2 months to implement this, because it has to do a lot with content also, because each office has a lot of content in their current site, and we really had to see how to manage the migration of content from the old system to the new system. But it was pretty easy to be done on WordPress. I'm sure with Drupal would have been easier as well, but well, we're using WordPress. And yeah, so this is the handbook, and it's open, and everybody can go there and can see more about what we're doing. We also have a Medium blog where we post interesting readings about the design, about technology. All the repositories are open, so if you're interested to see what we've contributed, it's all there in GitHub. Our Europe project is also open, so you can also see all the development tasks that we are working on this sprint. You can even comment if you think we're doing something wrong. Since the beginning, we are trying to do this project with the community instead of for the community, right? And to be honest, it was the first time for, I think, a project in Greenpeace working this way. So it was a bit challenging, and people was a bit scared. Like, what are we gonna do if people just keep throwing us stuff? You know, if people keep criticizing us, if people keep sending us messages that. But that didn't happen actually. I found people is not that interested in what we're doing. No, I don't know. But no, it has been great so far, because we've had some really good input from some people. So yeah, it's open, and we also have a Google Drive where we keep all our meeting notes and about the content stuff, and it's also open. So openness. So yeah, I would like to. What was that? Oh, it wasn't me. I would like to close this presentation just by saying that at the end, it doesn't really matter which technology you decide to choose, either if it's WordPress or Drupal. Let's use this technology to try to make something good about it, right? Let's try to mobilize people. Let's try to make people do a positive change in the world to make this world a better place for us and for our children and for new generations to come. So I speak really fast, and I think I have a lot of time now. But it's great, because then you can ask questions, and I can always say a lot of things that I missed. For example, I didn't say anything about the development process we're following. But yeah, I'm interested to hear your questions. Yes?
You said you're given each, I don't know what the location, which of Greenpeace, like a base theme and a child theme. Have you got any way of how you will do updates? So if you bring in new functionality to the base theme, how that is sent to the each organization around? Yeah.
So the way it works is with Kubernetes is way easier. I don't get in the very technical way of how it is done, but I know with the Kubernetes, we just push a change, and it's reflected in all the master themes of all the repositories we have in the same cluster. And then we update the master themes, and they are all done. It does take some time still, but with virtual machines, it was taking hours. And then for this, it's just a 10-minute build. And then so we update the master theme, and then if there is a change, so the master theme and the child theme are completely the same. If an office decides to make a change in their child theme, whenever we update the master theme, it is overridden with the child theme. So only the lines that are conflicting won't be overridden. like this will be overridden by the child theme. That's how we can manage to keep their changes and also keep releasing our new versions. It is not also perfect because sometimes sometimes the offices don't use the same coding standards or the best practices. So it could be that something that we release breaks their code because of what they custom developed. But then, yeah, these are some of the things that we're trying to improve, and that we have to find a way how to do it more smooth.
You talked about content blocks. Are you talking about custom post types, or are you talking about Gutenberg?
No, we are not in. No, so it's a page element actually. I can show you how it looks like. We haven't moved to Gutenberg yet because we just thought it was. Should I say it was not as stable yet. Like we wanted to wait a bit more for it to be more stable. Wait, I'm gonna, let's check. So we haven't moved to Gutenberg yet. We are trying to do it. Oh, don't look at that! Don't look at that! My privacy. So we're trying to move to Gutenberg soon, but maybe next year, because I forgot to mention we are a very small development team. Of course, we are an NGO, and so we are trying to keep improving the site at the same time that we try to roll out new offices. So we are moving a bit slow there. So whenever you create a page, let's say we want to create another page. You have this add page element, and then these are the blocks that we custom developed for WordPress. So it's a shortcake block, and we created the design. It's like a template for offices to have. Okay, if you want to have a block to show related articles, or maybe campaigns, carousel, content split in 4 or in 3 or in 2, a sub-menu. So all these facilitates a lot for webmasters to create a very more innovative content, and it's very easy because then they don't have to really struggle with or they don't really need to have HTML or CSS skills. So these are the ones we developed, and yeah, that's it. I can, if you go to one, for example, this one is auto-populated, so you only have to set a title there and a tag. But for example, the static 4 column, then there are just the fields to add the title, the image that you want to see, the description. So I think this makes it very easy for the people. These are the blocks I was referring to. And they are reflected in So for example, if you go to Explore page, then they used here one block, and then they use another block here to represent each of the campaigns they're working on. And we keep improving it, of course. And we got the feedback that it has been really easy, and of course it's way better than what we had before. But we keep improving it based on the feedback. We are trying to make all the decisions based on data. So that's what we are currently working. Yeah.
Do you also have a mechanism for reusing the content between the instances, or is it always open?
So, good question. So what we do is we have default site, what we call it. So this is, for example, if you go to, we are in Kubernetes, and then you go to the default content. What we usually give each office when they start is this, which is a template. So we are just it's just to make them the process easier and faster, so that they don't have to build a footer from scratch, a navigation header, and all this. And then they just go and change all of this. This is what they start with, and for the content, Well, everything in the organization is open, so we try to really push this community feeling. And every time someone uses a certain image that might be useful for another one, it is everything in our same folders that everyone has access to. I don't know if that was your question. Did I answer your question?
If there's a mechanism to share the content between the instances, or
Okay.
if the one country wants to use the content of another one, they have to create a new page and copy.
Yeah. So in that sense, no, we don't have like automate a script that will just duplicate a specific content because I mean, if an office wants to build a page, then I think it's just way easier if they just go and build it. But we do have some scripts to, for example, sync data between production and staging side. So using this script, then everything is reflected there. But no, for offices to use for single pieces of content, we don't have that. And we don't really have, haven't felt the need for that, but maybe, later on when we have more offices, maybe we'll start needing that, and then we'll have to look into that.
If it was something you know now that you would like to change in the process of doing this, what would it be?
In the process or in the design?
The whole project.
In the whole project? Well, for sure, I would have loved to start with Kubernetes in the start, because now it has been an issue that we have some in virtual machines and some in Kubernetes, because we found some of the issues we've had, sometimes they're only related to the, they're only reflected in specific infrastructure. So right now it's been a bit messy that, for example, every time we need to do a release, we do, the release of 6 sites, and then the others we have to go manually and do them. I would have changed that. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of areas for improvement and that we have to do better, but we're doing our best, so of course. There was a question there.
Yes. Did you choose Wordpress about a question of regarding a question of budget or just technology?
Yeah, it was mainly budget. And not, I mean, I'm sure you can also find some agency with a very good and attractive budget proposal in Drupal. But within the organization, we had more people skilled in WordPress. So this means we either had to, if we would go for Drupal, we either had to invest training our staff in Drupal if they wanted to do like some collaboration, or hire more people, which was not really convenient for a non-profit. It was mainly that, because whatever the vision that we had and the concept that we had in mind and design could be achieved by both. We did explore both. We did explore like every aspect, and we could see both WordPress and Drupal could have done this. And the architecture I was talking about, I think that can also be reproduced in Drupal's framework. So that was mainly the reason.
Do you develop your own plugins, or are you pulling a lot of third party, because that has a significant impact on theme development, right?
Yeah. We haven't developed as many, but we have developed some. We know the plugins are one of the main causes for vulnerabilities, security vulnerabilities. So we are trying to be really careful not to just have massive amounts of plugins added to the site. So even for adding a plugin, we have this complex process of reviewing it. Right? There are some list of things that you need to check whenever you want to add a plugin, and then we ask people to do some code review as well. But we have developed some. Yes, we have. Of course, we also want to contribute to the WordPress community, and we have. I can't tell you an exact number now because I'm not that familiarized with it as of now. But I can give you more information about which specific ones if you are interested. Yes.
How do you handle multilingual sites with planning for instance, Belgium, where they have 4 major languages?
Multi-language?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we use a plugin actually. It's the WPML plugin, and so we install it. People just we have another plugin for making for doing the translations, and then the sites are reading from this database, and yeah, it's pretty easy actually. We didn't really have to do a lot of custom development. We did have to do some customization for how we wanted it to be shown on the top bar and all that, but using the plugin it was really easy. Yes. And then offices can go and add as many languages as they want. Of course, they only have the ones that they need. But yeah, all these, for example, the language install and the adding more plugins, it is done through the GitHub repositories. So it's also not. That way we can have a more smooth process when making these changes.
Regarding the choice between Drupal and WordPress, is there any kind of documentation that provides a more detailed breakdown apart from what you mentioned here?
Yeah, for sure. We do have a lot of documentation, and I'll be happy to share it with you. There were also a lot of other things than what I mentioned, that at the bottom line it was this, at the end the main decision was because of what I mentioned, but there were also some things that made it harder. For example, Greenpeace Germany didn't decide to go on Planet 4, and they decided to build their own site in Drupal. Germany is in Drupal 8. Also, we have an engagement platform called, volunteer social network platform called Greenwire, and it's also developed on Drupal. So all these were factors that made us think like, we have experience with Drupal, like we can do it, right? But we also knew it was, in our experience at least with these platforms, has been like, it is a bit more complex, like when you want to do custom development. That's what we found. Of course, could be that we are wrong, or we don't have the right skills. Right? That's it. Anybody else has more questions?
One detail. This added block was sent from a really great plugin. Do you know what you use?
Yeah, Shortcake. I can share it with you after if you want. But yeah, it's really useful. Yeah. Anything else? I think we are on time, right? We only have 5 minutes and that's it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so if there are not any other questions, I'm happy to answer more questions if you have more afterwards. I think I didn't put my email there, but well, it was covered.
We all saw it now.
That's true. Well,
it's on record.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's true. Or also in Twitter. I don't tweet much, but if you want to send me a question there. Oh, you can't really see it. Anyway, I'll be here. You can just come after the session and yeah, we can talk more.